Hey y'all, it's Melissa. Welcome to Messy Missy Creates. I'm going to make my November journal. And I showed you yesterday this fabric. It's a set of fat quarters that I was going to use for the, I thought, because this purple does match perfectly. But when I put it next to the journal, I could not find a fabric or a ribbon that tied those two together and made them look good. I don't like the solid color. If it had been a print, I would have liked it, I think. But anyway, I think that's going back to the store. So I went on a hunt, and I'd forgotten I got these jelly roll fabric pieces. So we're gonna make one of these work and one of these ribbons work. Here are my printables again that I'm using in my November journal. It's sweater weather themed. So these are gold sweaters with kind of a burgundy numbers and some journaling spots, and then some gold and burgundy days of the week. So if you're interested in those are in my Etsy store, and I have that linked below. Set those to the side. We don't need those yet. I am using this. It's called Berry. We've been debating on whether it's purple, or I've been trying to call it burgundy or magenta or whatever. The paper pad says it's Berry. So it's Berry Tapestry Fall. I got it from Michael's. Hope introduced me to it, and it had bunnies in it, and I couldn't pass it up. There's only a couple pages that have the bunnies, but they were holding purple pumpkins and I couldn't resist. So anyway, I've already pulled the pages out so I don't have to do that with you. The reason why I did that is so that, let me slide all this out of the way. And I already have them in order, and I've already counted them. So guess what? We don't have to count pages. Well, I mean, I'm sure we still will for the final. But I went ahead and picked them out because I bought a digital, it was a tartan plaid kit off Etsy. I'll have to look up the Etsy shop name. It was called Boho plaid, tartan plaid or whatever. They had buffalo checks and whatever, but I like the tartan plaid better. So I printed on the back sides of, that didn't turn out the color I wanted it to. I was not going to use this page, but I did. So anyway, so that's why I went ahead and pre-picked my pages. And I did end up using this kind of duck egg blue because it's in here. And then there's that light pink. Here's some of my dyed papers. One of them or two of them, I did green on the back. I think it's this one. Because there is green in the, yeah. There's green in this paper. So anyway, and then this is going to be my center. So that's where we're at with the papers. And then this I decided I'm going to use as my inside cover. These are the cut apart strips. But I thought I'm probably going to end up having to cut it right about here. Well, it'll be cut right at that gold acorn strip line, and you'll get this in it, and the trees, and the happy fall, and the teal, and then this is gold with the leaves, and then it's got the turkey and all the fixings in it, and then it's got this blanket and sweater, scarf, mittens, candle, hat, yarn, and a cup of coffee with a pumpkin in it. Anyway, I kind of thought this depicted the whole month of November. Or at least the whole journal. So that's what I'm going to use as my inside cover. So let me set that to the side. We're going to have to cut those down, but at least we don't have to pick them out. So I think I already told you I was cutting this book block out. And I thought about doing it off camera. But you can see this one should be pretty easy because the binding is real loose, and that's a good thing. It makes it come out real easy. It is an older book. Well, I don't know that let's see how old it is. But it's called Crisis and Trauma Counseling, and I'm not going to use the pages. I'm going to give them to a friend of mine. This was, it has, I don't know, 2003 maybe. And I actually think it's a faith-based book. A faith-based trauma-informed counseling book. Anyway, I don't need the book. So I'm going to give her the book block. And I'm going to try really hard not to cut the spine. There we go. And I think did I nick it? No. I like the spine because it has it's a very matte finish, so I can put whatever I want on it. Ooh, that is janky, janky, janky. Okay. Oh, I might not have wanted to peel that up. Okay, so I'm going to hand her a book block and say, here, read this book. So, I've already forewarned her. So, I need the cover. She doesn't have to have the cover to read the book. It's going to stay all together because it's glued. It's not an old book. But it was old enough to be loose enough. And no, I didn't. Okay. Thought I cut the spine again. I mean, I didn't cut it the first time, but I thought I cut it. I've actually got the spine away from it where I can't cut it. Can you see where I have folded back the spine at this point? It's just that my knife, I think I'm needing this used to be a super sharp knife. But they do get dull over the years of use. So, let me see if I can convince this one to come out. I almost could just cut it with scissors at this point. But I'm going to prevail with this knife. There we go. Alright, so here's the book block. I'm not going to use the pages. I'm going to give them to her. And if she wants to read them. See, it was glued in with one bead, but that bead had already come attached a long time ago. So I'm going to put the book block somewhere where I'll remember to give that to her. And then I'm going to put this up because we're done with this. And I'm just going to, instead of pulling this all the way out, I was going to cut it off, but I probably should tuck it in and leave it there. I wanted to see, well, I don't have to see. I was going to look at last month's journal and see if I know that I wrapped it. Here's the problem with this, is it's going to barely cover this part right here. Now, I'm going to squish it down and make it a little bit more narrow, and then that's going to give me, oh, the measurements on this are like 9 1/4. Well, let's measure the book block, because that's usually a good indication of what size you want your papers. So 9 by 6. So that means the cover is about 9 1/4 by about, if we go all the way like to where the pages are going to be sewn in, I can do 6 1/4. I'm going to do 9 by 6 pages, but that just leaves us a little wiggle room. So I guess I should cut these since they're already peeling out and just straighten that up a little bit. Okay. All right. I don't feel the need to add any extra cardboard or tape or anything like that. I'm going to be adding fabric. This is what I was talking about. Last month I did this and I used these, but the pumpkins went kind of every which way. The pumpkins are all facing up. And I wrapped, and I liked the way that I did it, because I wrapped the, let's turn it this way, and let's pretend we're using this one. This one has more of a berry color pink, and then the blue pumpkins would be on this side, which I'm not totally thrilled about, But the pages have almost a little, no, I don't think they have any orange in them. They do have a little bit of that duck egg blue, so I guess it's better that they do that. But anyway, I wrapped it last time, and I really liked it. But the pumpkins are going to be upside down on the inside. And they weren't last month because some of them were, but because they were kind of sideways and whatever. So I think I'm going to wrap and cut here and then do a strip inside. So now I just have to figure out which one I want. So let's go back to, and let me get these scissors out of the way so I don't try to cut fabric with my paper scissors. Let me get my fabric scissors out. This is what I would do if I were using this piece of fabric. I would do this. I found this kind of berry ribbon. It's not very exciting. It doesn't have any trim or, you know, anything like that. But I do like the color. It doesn't really match the purple. And it almost looks like you're trying too hard, or trying to match it but miss the mark. So I'm kind of, here's the other option that I have. And this just has, it has some pink pumpkins in it, which the paper pad. Yeah, paper pad. The paper pad had those in it. Some pink. And then I have this trim. Let me get the other end of it. I think it's straighter. I've used this before. And I can't remember. Maybe it was last year. But I would put it on both sides. So that extends that out a little bit. And then maybe I can put something on here. I did finally decorate my October journal. I put that cluster on there since the cluster was the item of the month. And just because I thought it looked cool. And I put pumpkin patch on there because it's full of pumpkins. And I still have some more journaling in that journal to do. But I wanted to go ahead and get my November journal made today. And get it out. I'm going to use, if I use this, I think I'm going to use the gold embroidery floss. Because I don't really want to accentuate the teal or the orange or the pink. If I use the other, I had this berry color picked out, but, or that burgundy or whatever you want to call it. So I'm leaning towards this. So let's go ahead and make this happen. I'm going to put it up past, I'm going to kind of mark where I think this is going to go, or at least eyeball. If I center it, it's going to look like this. So by the time I get it down in the ditch, really all I want is my glue on the spine and in the ditch right now. That's all I want. So I've got my 3-in-1. Ooh, almost opened the whole thing. My 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac or whatever you want to call it. It's all made by Beacon. And I feel like there's something I'm forgetting, but this needs to go first because it needs to dry. And then we'll cut down the papers. So I'm just getting a bead of glue in each gutter and some along the edges here. And sometimes I rub it in, but I don't think I'm going to this time. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to leave a little bit of overhang. Now let me see if I put that on straight. I did not. So it needs to scoot this way a little bit. Because here's the... See, that one fell in the gutter. Okay, this dries pretty quick, so you don't have much wiggle room. Well, let's see if at least if it's on straight. We should be able to, it's coming through the fabric a little bit. That looks pretty straight. There's more on the front than there is on the back by a little bit, but the ribbon will hide that. So I'm going to cut a little bit off right here, just enough to wrap around, because I did like that wrapped around look. And I've got a bone folder so I can get it all down there. And then we're going to run a bead of glue like right along here. I just wasn't sure how far to put the glue. There we go. And then I'll do the same on this side, although there's not as much. No, I'm going to wait until I put the trim on it to do that side. Well, I'm going to put the trim on it now, so we don't have to wait very long. Okay, so this buckles sometimes. I'm going to go over a little bit like that. Let me see. Okay, this is the top. I mean, at this point, the only thing that matters about the top is the direction that the pumpkins are going, because otherwise the book, you can't read what was on the cover and there's nothing else on the book, so it doesn't matter. But now is the time to decide. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and glue these under. I want to go about to here with the glue, and here with that glue, and here with that glue. And then we'll come in with another piece. Whoop, I pulled it up. We'll come in with another piece that's not upside down and cover this up. But I liked having it flush against. Sometimes I used to leave it kind of frayed, like not that long, but a little bit frayed. So I did like the fact that it wrapped all the way around this time last month. So I'm duplicating that this month. Had a string of glue. This glue doesn't take long to dry. But I wanted those tucked before I put the trim on it, so I knew exactly where I was trying to put the trim. My fingers are sticky and it's sticking to my fingers. So, okay, flip that back over, and you can see we didn't get it completely straight on there, but we will have to live with that. This is the back, so it's not that big of a deal. So I want to put this right along the edge. So I want a pretty decent glob of glue, line of glue, not glob of glue. Well, I did glob it up at the top. And let's at least try to do that straight. I don't know what I was looking at a minute ago. Okay, the only way we're going to know is if we close it. And that's the inside. I want to scoot it. Because we're not really going to see a lot of the, I'm not going to see a lot of that fabric, but it has that gold in it, so it matches. And it just says, prepare yourself for pink pumpkins. That's what this fabric says. So let's do the same over here. Let me cut a strip. I know I haven't trimmed that other one yet. I was waiting for it to dry a little bit. Okay, so this one I'm going to open back up. And I want to put the glue right along that edge. And we're going to bring it out as far as we can, but still covering that fabric. And you see it, that ribbon's wanting to buckle, but I can pull it. Once it dries, I can pull it from here. See how this ribbon, just because of the way it's made, that one ribbon is woven through. So as soon as it dries, I can pull this end. And then I will put dabs of glue on the end so that it doesn't pull out any further. Oh, that one we totally messed up on. Hold on. That little part, well, that whole section right there. Wow. Wow. Let's see what else we messed up on. Right here. I totally put the glue in the wrong place. Okay. Well, that one was a little harder because the fabric went right to the edge of the bend of the book. And so I really need to, before I bend it any further, I need to let that dry. I hope that that's, well, I say that and then I go and bend it. I hope it's straight, but the front is straight enough. So this is the top. I marked a T at the top. I don't always do that, but because I can't tell on this one, I went ahead and did it that way. I've got glue all over my fingers. Okay, so this one, all I have to do is bring it here to here. So I'm going to cut it right about here. I thought about using my pinking shears, but I didn't. That jelly roll worked really well last month. This book must have been a hair thinner. The spine must have been a little bit thinner. But this is going to give us a good thick journal for November. So, I don't know that... I think October was thicker because of all the clusters. So I don't know if we will use this one to its capacity. I don't know what plans we have for November. I mean, I know we have Thanksgiving, and we do not have a trip. We normally go out of town either the last weekend in October or the first week of November, but that trip got put on hold. Got canceled actually until maybe next year. I mean, because, you know, the leaves only change. It's only fall, you know, one time a year. So, we had to kind of put that off, which was, you know, disappointing, but, it's okay. I don't want to keep scooting it, but I do want it in that gusset as well as I can get it. And then I'm going to put, oh, I hadn't thought about ribbon for the inside. I'm going to run a bead of glue down here just so it stays, put. And then I'm going to turn this way because it's easier for me to work right to left. Or actually, that one was pretty good. Glue that little section down. Maybe a little bit right here. There. Now I got the nozzle under there. I can do it now. Okay. We may end up just using washi tape. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday. If you saw my video yesterday, you'll know I went to Hobby Lobby. And you saw all my stickles and all the things. One thing I didn't think to look for was ribbon to match this journal. Oh no, look what it... No, okay. Since I put them on upside down anyway. But I didn't. Okay, so those are right side up and those are right side up. Let's let it dry. And I gotta get this glue off my hands. I'm gonna set this right over here and let it dry in peace. Let me tack down one more corner. You can't see me. Hold on just a second. I didn't want to move it again, but I had one more corner that needed a little tacking down. I think we're done with the fabric tack. Well, unless I find ribbon for the inside. So, I could use this maybe if I have enough of it. We'll see. We'll look at once we have the paper on. We may just use washi or we may not use anything. I don't know. I should have waited until I got the paper on to put the inside material on. Let me see if I can get some of this glue off my fingers. But anyway, I'm gonna cut this in half. Well, let me hold on. I gotta have the book page back for just a second because I want to measure this end paper. It's right at 9 inches. And this one, 9 inches. And then I'm going to cut it in half, which will give me 6 inches. That actually is more than what I need. So the paper is going to cover, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but we'll see. Oh, here's how all my stickles dried. They turned out really pretty. These are all real pretty and glittery, and these are all so pearlized, and they feel so cool. But that turned out kind of neat. It's going to be my cheat sheet. I am still tempted to order the purple, and another one called Sorbet, which looks to be like a magenta. Okay, so I want to cut this height-wise at 9 inches. And I'm hoping it falls exactly on that gold line right there. And it does not. So I do not want to cut the rooster off the roof. So I'm going to fudge it a little bit. And if I have to cut, that's 9 and about 3/8. But I don't want to cut this rooster off. Okay. I was hoping it was going to be right at this gold line, but woo, we just missed his head. Okay, so I have this strip to play with. That'll make a great pocket. Let's see if I need to trim this down a little bit more. So much for leaving that book there in peace, right? I don't think I need to trim it down anymore. We don't have to have a lot of the gold border. Let me trim a hair off of the bottom. Just a little bit. The slightest little bit. And I hope it doesn't tear. I'm going to countersink the blade so that it doesn't tear the paper. This is cardstock weight, so it shouldn't have torn it. But it's such a thin strip, I didn't want to take a chance. Okay, so now I'm going to cut it in half, which is 6 inches. And we just saw that that was a little more than we needed. Let's see, I've only ever done this in half because I haven't had to worry about this not being 6 inches. I'm confused. 6 inches is going to put us out to here, so I really need it to put it at the edge of the fabric. And I could have, if I hadn't glued that down, I could have tucked it under the fabric. But yeah, 6 inches is going to put us into the spine, and I don't want that. I did not get down in that gusset very well, but it feels like it's already dried. So I want it to come to about here. So I want 5 3/4, which really kind of stinks. But we're going to do it. Actually 5 1/2 on this side. What does 5 1/2 on this side look like? Right up to the edge of the paper. So let me do 5 1/2. I want this to be the left side and I want this to be the right side. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really tempted. Okay, so the left side was 5 and... I can do 5.5. And on the left side. So let's do 5.5. Oh, this scares me a little bit. This does not seem right to me. I'm hoping that I'm not going to have to cut down the papers too. I'm going to cut it at 6. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Or 5 3/4. Let's try 5 3/4. Yeah. Okay, I did it. Put that one on the left. Okay, turns out I don't want to see much of the fabric anyway. If you know what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? So that was 5 3/4. I think we're going to do 5 3/4 on this side too. 5 3/4 puts it right here. So yeah. So what I'm going to do is just cut 5 3/4 off the... I don't want it off the middle. I want it off the edge, I think. What does that look like? That would look like this. Yeah, I'm not liking that, but I don't want to cut this barn off. I really didn't want to cut the edge of that tree, so I might trim a little off each side. That's just a little over 6. I haven't ever had to give this much thought before. I mean, to be honest with you. Because I'm still here, and if I cut 5 3/4 off of here, that cuts most of that barn, most of that tree, but we just did it. Now, I might use that as a border. I don't know. I'll put it in my scrap. That was weird. I've always been able to just cut it in half and not worry about it. That's odd. That makes me wonder if my pages are going to be too wide. But this is really busy compared to this. Perhaps I should have actually used this purple on the inside. I may change my mind and actually use it. I was going to take it back, but that would look good against this paper. But we've already glued the other down at this point. But let's see what it looks like when we cover it, because we might not be able to see that much of it, and it might be fine. So, let's get some art glitter glue. This part of this process was not supposed to take this long. Actually, I'm going to use glue stick. I always use glue stick on this. Why am I getting out my art glitter glue? Yeah, this part of the process doesn't usually take this long. And I wanted to do this in one whack. In one video. So I can put my fabric scissors up for the moment. Get that out of my way. My bone folder out of my way. Well, I might need it again. Got some fresh glue paper. This is this side. Yeah, that took me a lot longer to decide that than it typically does. That just baffled me, though. You never know what you're going to run into with a journal. I don't know if I will edit that out. I don't really want to. I try to show you. I mean, not that that was a mistake. on my part. It just, or a miscalculation or anything. I don't know. I should have put the paper down before I put the fabric. Apparently, oh, look at me fixing to do it upside down. Okay. And get this lined up and centered. And I need to pull it up so I make sure I have the same amount on the top and the bottom. And I do. Now I will go back and reinforce some of the edges and corners with my art glitter glue. But for right now, that's good enough. And yeah, this does not, I didn't think about how this was going to look. Let me turn this over so I don't get glue on my pretty paper. Yeah, I really wanted to make this in one video. But I may have to either cut the papers down without you, or I might have to sew it in without you. Which I have start to finish videos on this many months. So if you are new and you don't know how to do, you know, cutting your papers down and whatever, or sewing in your signature or something like that, then I've got a whole playlist called Journal Making, I think. I used to call it Journal Assembly, and I changed the name of it recently because I'm like, why did I name it that? That's kind of weird. Okay, this is going to have to go. Dang, I was going to take that purple paper back. I mean, the purple fabric back because I don't really like it. You're not going to see a whole lot of this. Let me see if I can fix this. I have just this gold. I don't even know. I should have looked for purple ribbon and purple washi yesterday. Apparently. And I did walk down the ribbon aisle, and I thought to myself, so you don't need any more ribbon. But then I got home and realized I didn't have any. That really is not working the way I want it to work. So I might have to find some ribbon to put on that. That washi's not going to stick. It's mostly on the fabric. And this side we did cut shorter. I could have left it a little longer after all. But it's okay. So once you get your signature in there, once you get your paper sewn in, you're not going to see a whole lot. I'm not going to stress over it until I get my paper sewn in. So let's set this aside just to give me and it a break. I like it on the outside, don't like the fabric on the inside, for sure. So let's get our papers out. At least I already did all the counting and the whatever. This I decided I wanted to be my cover. So I'm going to, yeah, we did cut that down to 9, right? Because now I'm questioning everything. Just double checking. Measure twice, cut once. Measure 8 times, cut once. Okay, I want them 9 inches tall. And at this point, see, I like to count from in here, and maybe that's not right. But this is where I think 6 inches wide is going to be fine. So 9 by 6 is what we're aiming for. So right now I'm just cutting. All I have to cut off the scrapbook paper is the height. The other papers, I'm going to have to cut down the width as well. Now, was I going to take that off the top or the bottom? May not matter. I'm going to take it off the bottom, though. Let me see what it cuts into. I measure 9. I'm going to cut it off the top. when it went through my printer, it got a little black ink blob on the top corner, which you would not even notice, but I noticed it. So, but these little strips, they don't go to waste. And see, this will be cute. See that little black ink blob? But anyway, this will be a cute little pocket or whatever. So I keep all my little 3-inch strips because that's what you end up with. So I'm going to put this over here face down. Let me put this strip with my strips. And then I'm going to have to fold this and cut it. Let's see, hold on a second. Yeah, I'm going to have to fold it and then cut it folded. I may not cut the width, but I'm going to cut the height. Because the width I will turn in. Let's see what the width is on this one. The width is 7 inches, or a little over 7 inches, and it's 9 3/4 inches tall. Yeah, like 7 1/4 by 9 3/4 or something like that. So I think I had a little bit of a, I looked to see if I tore it when I dyed it. And I'm going to cut it off, cut the height off the top of this one. And they cut folded in half very nicely. And then this I will just fold in however much I feel like I want to fold it in. So I'm going to open it back up and put it on top of the other one face down. This one I'm going to cut down to 9 inches. And it really isn't directional and it doesn't matter. That's one of the reasons why I like that tartan plaid on the back, because it wasn't I didn't have to think about direction on anything or any of that on the back side. So hold on a second, because I think I'm supposed to be, yeah, I'm supposed to be flipping these over. Yep. Okay. Got it. This definitely is directional. So I think this is the top. So I don't even know if you can see me or if I'm in frame or whatever. But cut it down to 9 inches. There's another strip. Turn this upside down. Put it on my pile. If I counted correctly, this one's going to be Thanksgiving. It will also be at the beginning of the month, too. It'll be like the 4th day or the 3rd day. I think it was the 4th day, if I counted right. And then I turn it over and put it on my pile. And maybe I should have already trimmed these, but when I got them in order, I did not want to get them out of order again, because it took me all morning yesterday to get these printed and in some kind of order where they matched or didn't clash. This one I'm going to cut, I am going to cut the width off of it. No, well, because it's got this little torn, yeah, I think I am, because it's got this torn edge right here. That is not straight, y'all. Why is that not straight? Because I didn't fold it straight. That could be. But I'm going to start here. Like that. Cut that. That just doesn't look right. But it is, or it should be. And then cut this down to 9. So I won't have a little flap on this one like I do on some of them. Open it back up, put it in there. And this one doesn't really have a direction. I mean, it kind of does. Let's pretend this is the top. So, cutting here. And I'm flipping it over. And same with this one. This is definitely the top. And I'm just cutting the 3 inches off. I'm cutting them down to 9 inches. Cut that barn right in. Cut the roof right off the barn. And flip it over and put it on my pile. And here's another dyed page. This one is, the edges on it are fine. I just got to get them lined up. Make sure I fold it in half correctly. It's hard to, because you can't really gauge it by where the holes are exactly. Because depending on where you took the page out of the comp book, the holes are a little, they're slightly, ever so slightly different. Okay, so this one, all I'm going to do is cut off the top. So cut it down to 9 inches, like that. It would make sense if I used that edge for my, but I didn't. So why start making sense now? What's up with that? Why would we want to do that? Okay. This is where a little bit of that duck egg blue comes in. There's a couple pages with it, but it was in the pack. You'll see this paper right here had it. And then I printed the duck egg blue on the back. Because I just needed one more color. I wasn't going to bring it in. I didn't want to do teal because I've done teal and orange I've done something with teal the last 2 months. And I didn't want to do teal again. Does that matter? I don't think it's directional. Okay, get it on the 9-inch mark, make sure it's straight, and cut, and turn it over. So here is another dyed paper. So this one, the holes match up. I pulled them all from the center, but so the holes will match up to the fold pretty well with these. But when you start taking them out of the outer part of the book, it changes something. I don't know. I don't make the rules. I don't know. But I'm gonna leave the width on this one. I'm just gonna cut the height. And we'll have a little bit of a fold over. I may not use that later, but if nothing else, I can fold it over and glue it, and it'll make those pages stronger. Like when you're turning the pages, how I always like to have some washi tape on the edges, because the comp book pages are pretty thin. Hey, that one we did a better job. We got most of the barn in that one. And then that one gets folded over, and then this one goes with the green. This one had the green plaid on the back. And let's see. I pre-printed some of the papers. This one I took a gamble and I numbered them, so I knew what numbers I wanted. Because the lady that made them numbered, there was like 56 of the different colors in there. And so I printed off several of them and numbered them. Well, I forgot to number one of them, one of the pinks that I wanted. And I took a gamble with this one. Because I wanted more of this light purpley pink that's in a lot of them. And lo and behold, that was not it. So that was just a really odd shade that doesn't match the rest of the book, but that's why I paired it with this gold, because it won't really matter as much up next to the gold as it will somewhere else. So this one, I do see a tear here. So I will cut off this end. And it's not going to quite cut the tear. Wow. Well, that's Unfortunate. But it's just a little tear. I may need to go in and tape it or something, but maybe it won't fall off before I get to it. Here's the last one. This one is upside down. But see, this one had a little bit of an ink corner too. I am going to cut it this way, obviously, because I want the trees. So this one is just going to be, we're not missing much, but this one has this plaid on the back. So this one actually goes face up, or the tree side up, I think, if I did that right. If I figured it right, anyway. So this should be starting with the center of the book. And we should be able to just fold them like this. And like this one should already be folded like that. And this one can just get folded. I just need to make sure they're all upright. When I flip them over, I didn't flip them top and bottom. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that one slides in there. See that I love the color pink, and it's very cool for fall. It just didn't match the papers. So there was that. And I almost ended up just using all scrapbook paper because it would have been easier to match than mixing in my dyed paper. But I love my dyed paper. Although it looks more Halloween than it does Thanksgiving, but it's all good. Let me go ahead and fold over so we don't have this sticking out. Let me fold these over like this. That did not fold straight at all. Okay. And then I'll fold this one in. And I don't have, yeah, I do. I was gonna say, I don't have a gauge to where to go. I'm not really lined up on the paper behind it like I was on that one. But I'm just gonna fold to this line right here. And if it's shorter, it's shorter. It's not a big deal. But this is the one that has the tear right there. So I want to be careful not to tear that little edge off till I get to it and can get some tape on it. I could just put clear tape on it right now, but I'm not that worried about it. If you couldn't tell. Okay, that one was easy. Now, is this one gonna be easy? Let's see. I am not about to count. Let's do this. Let's flip it backwards. That works. If it doesn't work frontwards, try it backwards. Because I end up using those as tucks. I just have to reinforce them with washi because they're thin. And yeah, so let's see. So it is unseasonably chilly here. We're getting down, I think, like 41 last night or 41 tonight maybe or something like that. Yesterday was kind of dreary and it was overcast and it was kind of misty and windy. And I went into Hobby Lobby. Well, I had an appointment and then I ran into Hobby Lobby and it was so crowded. And I think I talked about this yesterday too, but it was so crowded and the chill in the air and everything, it made me feel like I should have been Christmas shopping. You know what I'm saying? Not fall stuff, but, well, of course, they've got all their Christmas stuff out and everything, and so, you know, that really lends itself to making it feel, and they do that deliberately so that you start buying stuff sooner, but, they already have their Christmas stuff half off. I'm like, oh my goodness. So, I called my husband when I left there, and I'm like, told him, I said, it felt like Christmas. And he said, why'd they have all their Christmas stuff out? And I said, well, it was not just that. It was the fact that it was so chilly, and it was, which I love, by the way. I mean, I'm not complaining about the chili. I'd rather be cold than hot. And I'm perpetually hot. So, anyway. And he said, so are we putting up the tree this weekend? He said, is that what you're telling me? We're going back to Hobby Lobby and we're putting the tree up this weekend? I was like, that wasn't quite what I meant, but I said, sure, why not? We don't put our tree up in November. I actually probably will put it up. I usually don't put it up until after Thanksgiving. But because I am hosting Thanksgiving, and we've done this one other time, because I'm hosting Thanksgiving, I don't have to fold the edges on that one, because I already cut them down. Not because I'm hosting Thanksgiving. But because I am hosting Thanksgiving, I wouldn't mind having my tree up already. And also, too, we get so busy that weekend that we end up not getting it done that weekend. And then we end up pushing it. And then it doesn't get done till mid-December. And then I'm like, I don't want to... I want to have it up and we enjoy it. We love looking at it. We love, you know, all the things, and the tree's so pretty, and it's right there in the living room with us, and as we're watching TV, we can, you know, sit there with the tree lights on and just thoroughly enjoy it. And so, yeah, I think that we might try to put it up like the day before Thanksgiving or something like that. Well, it might have to be the weekend before. I don't know if we can do it. I think we can do it on a weeknight if we have all the stuff out. We can't really see in our shed. Well, that one particular shed where all of our holiday stuff is, we can't really see in it in the dark. And y'all, time changes this coming weekend. I thought we had another week, and we don't. And I do not like this time of the year when it gets dark at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or 4:30 or 5 or whatever. And then I've got to adjust my chicken timer, my automatic door that opens and closes at a certain time, because they'll be getting in there sooner, and I don't want to lock them out, and blah, 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 right? Okay, so we did push out in the center, but that's okay. I hope we're going to have enough time. I mean, not time. I hope we're going to have enough. We are. See, and I knew that this would curl out a little bit. And so I wasn't really worried about that so much, because look how much space we have. So we've got a good thumbnail length. We're not going to stick over. And if we do, it's okay. But, okay, so now we have to sew it in. We are right at an hour. And I'm going to actually push this one. I'm not going to do a part 2. I don't want to do a part 2. I do want to go through and I want to make sure that I'm not just counting pages, but I want to make sure that my Thanksgiving day is in the right day. So we have the 1st, the 2nd, and make sure I didn't flip any upside down. The 3rd, see, I flipped that one upside down. That's problematic. Ruh-roh. That's not good. Wait, yeah, it is. It's fine. I think. Okay. So that's the cover sheet, because I didn't want to put anything on top of the bunny, so I let that be first. So the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th. Okay. It needed to be the 4th so that it's on the 27th, because I think Thanksgiving is the 27th. 4th, 5th, the 6th. Look what I did. The 7th. did I turn the whole thing? I did. Okay. Was on the 7th. Okay, this was the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Okay, let's turn the whole thing upside down. The 8th, the 9th. I like how that looks. The 10th. It's my niece's birthday. The 11th. 12th. The 13th. Come on. 14th, 15th. The 16th. You know you're right when you got the 16th in the middle. The 17th. The 18th. The 19th. 20th. 21. It looks like LSU colors. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26th. 27th. That did not work out right. 28th. What did I do wrong? This was supposed to be the 27th, not this. Can I? No, I can't. I can pull. No, if I pull that out, that matches, but that still doesn't make that the 27th. Okay, let me pause you for a minute, or I'm just going to sew this in myself, and I will bring you back, and let me figure out what I did wrong, and I will bring you back. All right. Okay, the only way that I could figure it out, I think I've got it, is I had to flip that page around, because I had it figured in if it was the 4th page, then it would be the 27th page. So, but I didn't take into the account that it was going to be the back side of the page. So we have 1, 2, I had to flip, see, 3, 4, now it's on the 5th page. I had to do that, and I had to put these 2 plaids together, which I'm not, it's okay. It's not what I wanted. So this is the 5th, and then we get to the 16th, because I already know that's the 16th, and then we have 17, 18, 19, 20. That didn't change anything there. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I don't like this purple on this page. 28. I'm actually thinking about taking this out and going back into the paper pad and seeing if there's another paper pad I'd rather have that matches these 2. But anyway, so I'm going to finish it without you. I will bring you back to show you it. If you want to see me sew one in, I'm going to trim these ribbons and whatever, but this video is long enough. And I'm just going to double count and make sure, and I don't want to drag you along for that. And I might, like I said, I might take that one dyed paper out and put in another paper pad. One from the paper pad. And see if I can find another one that I like, okay, instead of that one. Because there's plenty of, I mean, ones that I didn't use in here. Like I didn't use that one. I wasn't going to use this berry with the foil. Although I like it. It's not easy to write on. I could always use these white pumpkins. I could use that solid color. I didn't use this one. It's just wheat. I didn't use this one because it was more pastel, but that actually might be, and you know what? I didn't end up using this page, I think. Yeah, because there's still 2, and I didn't use this green. So I might end up swapping that one out for one of those 2 colors. So Anyway, I'm going to fiddle with it on my own. I'll bring you back, but I still have some more October journaling to do. And I love that little tea bag on there and the tea cup with the books. And but I've kept you long enough. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.